Hello and welcome everyone to the Environment Primer series of Drishti IAS. My name is Pragya, and in today's episode of Environment Primer, we are going to discuss a very interesting topic that has shaped the landscape of environmental jurisprudence across the globe as well as in India also. Okay, so the title of our today's discussion is the Polluter Pays Principle. In this discussion, we are going to firstly study about what is the Polluter Pays Principle. We are also going to discuss its historical background. We are also going to see the international scenario of its application, that what countries globally are following this principle. We are also going to analyze the application in India, and in the end we are going to see a practice question for your prelims examination and a practice question for your mains examination. So if I talk about the background of our today's topic, air pollution has become a menace. We have been discussing air pollution in details in our Environment Primer series, and the main cause of air pollution in Delhi at the onset of winter is the stubble burning. So many of the experts have recommended that to reduce stubble burning, the Polluter Pays Principle should be applicable in letter as well as in spirit. So this brings us to the moot question of our today's discussion, that what is this Polluter Pays Principle? So if I talk about the Polluter Pays Principle in very layman terms, it simply states that the person who is causing the environmental degradation should be made to pay for it. Okay, so the Polluter Pays Principle is a principle of international environmental law that states that whoever is responsible for damage to the environment should bear the cost associated with it. Okay, so let me explain this to you by an example. For example, there is this person A who is causing the environmental degradation. Then who will bear the cost of causing this environmental degradation? The person A itself. Or for that matter, there is an industry which is also involved in environmental degradation. So who will bear the cost of, degrading the environment? The industry will bear. And this is also known as a economic penalty, economic tax that we are asking them to pay for causing the environmental degradation. And this definitely will in turn increase deterrence. They will think before degrading the environment. Okay. So the principle also requires that the cost of pollution prevention and control be borne by those who cause it. So not only they will pay the costs after degrading the environment, but they should also pay the cost for protecting the environment, for securing the environmental interests. So they should also help in prevention of the environmental degradation, and this is the basic concept of the Polluter Pays Principle. Now, if I talk about the historical background of this principle, how this principle evolved throughout the world. So, the World Commission on Environment and Degradation on its report, Our Common Future, stated that the cost of repairing the environment can be paid by internalization of an enterprise. So, it evolved this concept known as internalization of an enterprise, and it said that the cost should be borne by those who pollute the environment. So, this internalization in economic context means that the polluter bears the cost himself and does not delegate the work to an agent. So, what is this trying to say? In simple terms, it is trying to say that if there is an industry, if there is a person who is, responsible for causing any kind of environmental degradation, the cost should be paid by that person himself. He should not delegate the cost to someone else. That means the cost should not be delegated to innocent people by the activities of their own which are causing the environmental degradation. But because in most of the cases, the cost of environmental degradation is paid by innocent people. They are getting affected by this environmental degradation, and that is why this report that Our Common Future stated that it should be internalization of an enterprise. That means the enterprise should be made liable to pay the cost, not the innocent people. The report also stated that an enterprise would be encouraged to invest in taking preventive, restorative and compensatory measures if they are made to burn the costs of the polluting the environment. Okay. So the Polluter Pay Principle was first introduced by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, also known as the OECD, in the year 1972. So you understood that the historical background, that there was a report released by the World Commission on Environment and Degradation, and it stated that there should be a concept known as internalization of an enterprise. And the report also stated that they should be made liable for causing environmental degradation. And the polluter pays principle globally was adopted by OECD first time in the year 1972. Now let us discuss the international scenario, or the countries which follows the polluter pays principle. So the first country is USA. The principle is employed in all of the major US pollution control laws. Then in UK also, Part 2A of the Environmental Protection Act 1990 established the operation of the polluter pays principle. Not only US, UK, in fact France, Sweden, other countries such as Australia, Canada, and lately Ghana as well. Polluter pays principle was introduced in Ghana in the year 2011. So all of these countries across the world acknowledge the principle of polluter pays, and this is an international environmental law principle. Now let us discuss how is it applied in India. So if I talk about the polluter pays principle in India, it is included in the Indian jurisprudence and is regarded as the most significant element of environmental law. Not only this, we also recognize in Article 21 the right to clean environment. So as a part of the right to clean environment also, the polluter pays principle is recognized in the Indian jurisprudence. According to Indian law, the polluter pays principle covers the direct expenses to those harmed by the pollution and cost to the environment and property. So after the Bhopal gas tragedy case, we became even more aware, and we recognize that the polluter should be liable to pay the cost that they are causing to the environment as well as to the innocent people. Now let us discuss some of the landmark judgments of Supreme Court in this regard. So the first case is the Indian Council for Enviro Legal Action versus Union of India 1996. In this case, basically the Supreme Court evolved the polluter pays principle in India. Polluter pays principle in India. Okay. So the very first time the Supreme Court in this case, namely the Indian Council for Enviro Legal Action versus Union of India, applied the principle of polluter pays. So in this case, what happened? There was a village in Rajasthan which was going through the ill effects of industrialization, and industry was opened in that village, and that was manufacturing a very harmful acid. So the Supreme Court recognized that the villagers should not be be paying the costs of that environmental degradation that is being caused by that industry. What happened was, due to the manufacturing of that acid, the soil got polluted, the water got polluted. So who was actually paying the cost? The innocent villagers and not the industry. So the Supreme Court said that industry should be bound to pay the cost of environmental degradation. Then came the case of Vellore Citizens Welfare Forum versus Union of India. This was a PIL under Article 32 of our Indian Constitution, which brought to the Supreme Court the state of affairs in the Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu also, the water pollution was rampant, the environmental degradation was rampant, and due to the industrialization. So this Vellore Citizens Forum brought this to the notice of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court again reiterated the polluter pays principle in this case. Then comes the case of MC Mehta versus Union of India 1986. This is also known as the oleum gas leak case or the Sri Ram Food and Fertilizers case. In this case, the oleum gas leaked from the plant of a cloth company which has a subsidiary in Delhi, namely Sri Ram Food and Fertilizers. The Supreme Court became very strict because we were already reeling in the aftermath of the Bhopal gas tragedy. So the Supreme Court took very stern cognizance of the matter and asked them to pay the cost of environmental degradation that they were causing, in invoking the principle of polluter pays. So these were some of the landmark case laws in India given by our Honorable Supreme Court, which applies the polluter pays principle in India. So with this, we come to a conclusion of our today's discussion. We have discussed what is the polluter pays principle. We have also seen that the historical background of the concept, and we have also seen the international scenario of the application of this concept. We have also seen how this principle is applied in India. Now let us discuss a practice question for your prelims examination. So the question is, consider the following statements. Your statement number 1 is polluter pays principle is mentioned in our Indian constitution. Your statement number 2 is polluter pays principle was evolved by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Which of the following statements given above are correct? Your options are: option A is 1 only, option B is 2 only, option C is both 1 and 2, and option D is none of the above. Kindly drop your answers in the comment box below. Now let us discuss a practice question for your mains examination. So the question is, has the time arrived to implement the polluter pays both in letter and spirit to curb air pollution? Examine. So introduction, you will write what is the polluter pays principle. You will write what the ongoing debate around it is like, how it can help in actually curbing the air pollution, especially in the cases of stubble burning. You will also write about the application of the concept in India, and you will write that it should not be a mere dead letter. It should be applied, like the persons who are polluting the environment should definitely be made to pay the cost of polluting the environment. And definitely, if we try to take this step, although the small farmers may not be able to pay for the costs, but if we try to take this step in a very phased manner, definitely it can, cast a deterrent effect and prevent stubble burning. So you can write all of this and conclude very holistically. I hope this session was insightful for you. If you have any feedback regarding this session, kindly drop it in the comment box below. If you liked today's discussion and found it to be helpful, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such updates. The PDF of this session is available in the Telegram group, the link of which I attach in the description. So you can download the PDF from there. Okay. Thank you.